Us right now, Donald Trump Presidential Campaign National Spokesperson, Katrina Pierson with us. Katrina, good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Well,
Thank you.
What a big number, 49% in this latest CNN poll. What is the messaging going into Super Tuesday that Donald Trump is going to be bringing on Tuesday? What's his main messaging?
Well, you know, the main thing here is we want someone that's going to fix the problems that we have. And the messaging is very simple. All the politicians are bought and paid for, and they're going to go out there and they're going to say a lot of stuff to get your vote, but they're not going to do anything about it after the fact. The messaging is Donald Trump wants to make America great again. He has put out several policies on his website, and he just really wants to get a lot of people out there involved and encouraged to help him make America great again.
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking is how is he going to do it? You know, up until now, it's been a messaging that has worked and that's resonating with people who want to see that tough leader in place, and yet we still don't know exactly how he's going to do it. How is he going to create jobs? How is he going to take the debt and deficit down? How is he going to keep the country safe?
Well, we actually do, and anyone that listens to any of his rallies or even the press conferences that he's had on specific policy releases knows some of this stuff. I always push people to DonaldJTrump.com and look at his positions. He has white papers out there. When he's out on the stump, he's talking to the average voter who don't really care about the 14-point plan promises that he does have on his website.
I see.
He's talking to them generally. Well, also, I'll say this. When it comes to creating jobs, he has talked about renegotiating trade deals, stopping the Trans-Pacific Partnership that all the other candidates support, bringing those jobs back to the country, repatriation of all those funds, and eliminating fraud, waste, and abuse to help bring down the debt. There are a lot of things that Mr. Trump has talked about, so I'm kind of curious on why people keep saying they don't know anything about his plans.
Well, Katrina, it's Dagan McDowell, but people listen to Donald Trump, and they've, you know, I've read his website, but I've listened to him in these rallies he does, and he says stuff that certainly makes some people nervous. On Friday, he said he wanted to change the libel laws in this country so he could sue the press, and it certainly members of the press looked at that and said, hey, he's attacking the First Amendment.
Well, and he's also jokes a lot at these rallies, too. And he's just talking about holding media accountable, which is rarely ever done. But if it can be done, Donald Trump would be the one to do it. The media gets away with so many things, including making up stories, which we've experienced several times on this campaign.
Katrina, let me ask you something, because one of the things that his supporters love about Trump is when somebody attacks him, he hits hard and he hits a bit below the belt. How can a candidate that is so aggressive in smash-mouth politics, how does he unite the party when and if he receives the ultimate nomination?
Well, I think you just read the CNN poll numbers. It seems that a lot of people are coming in behind Donald Trump. Every time a candidate has dropped out, Mr. Trump's numbers go up. And to me, that says unite.
Wait, Katrina, I just got to ask you one question about something you just said. What specific stories has the press made up?
Well, I mean, there's several stories that have come out over the campaign trail. I mean, most recently, this pushing that David Duke endorsed Donald Trump when, in fact, he didn't. So there's just a number of things that have come out over the time. CNN pushing out a story that Donald Trump was talking about some other thing that had happened. I mean, it's just really interesting how a lot of these stories come out mainly on CNN that just turn out to be false.
Katrina, this is David. How you doing? Look,
Hi, David.
I look at polls, and you've been on my show, and we've talked about this in the past. You know, the poll here is a poll of 1,001 adults. It's not likely voters. Yeah, the number looks good, the perception of 49% and 51%, those numbers look good for Trump. But if he doesn't get to this in the actual Super Tuesday voting, then you've got to question how we actually bring people together.
Well, we've been told the ceiling was 20%, then it was 25, 30, then he hit 40%, and now we're almost at 50% in the national polls. And as each state has voted, we have seen Mr. Trump bring in every coalition on the Republican side, from conservatives to moderates to liberals.
So the trajectory is going up, that's what you're seeing.
Well, absolutely. The numbers are matching what we're seeing coming in on the ground. I think you're going to find that again on Super Tuesday.
What about this Mexico story? I mean, today, another former president of Mexico speaks out against Donald Trump, Felipe Calderon, Katrina. Now, Felipe Calderon's accusing your campaign of being racist. How do you respond to that?
Well, we're out here running to make America great again, not to please the president or past president of Mexico. Securing our border is not racism. It's protecting our nation, which is the job of the federal government. So we don't pay any attention to that.
And, of course, on Friday, I was talking with the former president of Mexico, Vicente Fox, and he surprised us all with his language about it. He's very angry about it. Listen to this, Katrina. I want to get your reaction.
I am not going to pay for that wall. I am not. And he should know that. And I'm not going to apologize.
Not going to pay for it. How's it going to pay for it? How will it be paid for?
Well, I think the wall just got 10 feet higher, as Mr. Trump would say, but the wall has already been appropriated for. And this is another thing. Every single penny the government gives to states and cities has strings attached to it. We have got to start putting strings attached to the money we give to foreign governments, including Mexico.
Yeah.
We give them hundreds of millions of dollars per year.
And that's why the whole conversation has helped Trump, because people are angry about this. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. But, Katrina, the knock on Trump is that he says things like, I'll get Mexico to pay for this wall, that he knows can't possibly be true. And, you know, Rubio is starting to attack on this point where he says, I disagree with immigration, and yet that's all I hire in my resorts. How is he going to counter this notion that what he says and what he does don't always align?
Well, I don't think that's all Mr. Trump hired in his resorts, but we can talk about that in a second. First, I will say that Mexico can and most likely will pay for it. As I said, if we start attaching strings to foreign aid, we can get these other countries to do a lot more than they've been doing in the past that would actually benefit the country.
Hey, Katrina, just really quickly, you're right. David Duke did not formally endorse Donald Trump, but he did voice his support for Donald Trump as most recently as last week. So he was asked about that support, right?
He was asked, and in the press conference with Chris Christie on Friday, he unequivocally disavowed David Duke. And however, the statement that came out yesterday from the Anti-Defamation League with Jake Tapper was asking him the same story. And Mr. Trump just said, look, I don't know what you're talking about because this did not happen. And then David Duke actually came out and responded directly last night saying that that did not happen. So Mr. Trump was not really going to answer questions that had made no sense, first of all, and also wanted proof of the endorsement.
All right, Katrina.
Which doesn't exist.
Great to have you. Thanks so much. We will see you soon.
Great to see you.
Katrina Pierson there. We're watching.